Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Madonna. Yeah, it's really me. I couldn't be there this evening, so I'm calling in from the set of my new documentary, I Am Because You Aren't, and You Never Will Be, Lady Gaga. When James Bradford asked me to introduce him this evening, my first reaction was, absolutely not. But there are many parallels between our lives, so I acquiesced. For instance, I was once a beautiful, young, uber-talented, aspiring singer, destined for stardom. And James is also a singer. I can't help but think that James' story echoes the themes of my album, American Life, and we can only hope his show will be as successful as that was. I've been asked to warn you that some parts of this show are quite controversial. Yeah, right. I only agreed to do this if James agreed to purchase a discounted membership to my hard candy fitness chain. From the photos I've seen, I think that's the best for all concerned. I hereby give you permission to please enjoy the show. And when you see James, tell him thank you for the Godiva chocolates he sent. Next to flowers, they are the things that I loathe second most. But obviously he doesn't know that. Then I will now bid you adieu. Muchas gracias. Merci. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
to start tonight. The little bag, and the little cup, and the pillows, and the stool, and the curtain. Everything. I wanted to start off with a little bit of an exorcism moment. You never know what kind of fucked up people have been in these places before you. You never know what kind of mojo they've left behind. I have it on good authority that Mimi, I'm First, and her drag crew perform here on a regular basis, and I'm not about to go down with that sinking ship. So, I went over to Harry's Occult Shop on South Street. I wanted to get a bundle of sage, have a nice Native American moment. Yeah. Yes, honey, yes. Good intentions, road to hell, that's me. They didn't have any, but they did have these rolls of fake $50 bills bundled up, taped together, and soaked in Gina Tate perfume. You know what, fuck it. I mean, what am I gonna do with that? You all right there? Good, glad. You get what you pay for. I have no memory, so this is gonna be a little time. Truth be told, I don't actually have a lot of faith in spirituality. It's never been something that's a big part of my life. There we go. Religion has never been very kind to me. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, which, if you're not familiar, is it's up in the upper northwest corner of the boot that is Louisiana. It's like a really big, tiny, little, gigantic town. People want to know where it's at. I say it's somewhere in between where Britney Spears was born and where Britney Spears is most likely going to end up. I was actually born in St. Louis, Missouri, which is a totally different ballgame, and I don't remember a lot. I mean, the only real memories I have are screaming in terror as my family made me go up the elevator inside the Gateway Arch, which probably explains who I became as a man today. When we moved to Shreveport, everything changed. It was like the things that meant so much in life didn't mean so much anymore, like, I don't know, acceptance and being kind to other people. And then things that used to matter didn't matter anymore, like teeth. I tried to integrate myself into the community as best as I could. My family was upper middle class, and we lived in a neighborhood that was not super typical of the town. On the right side were the Wicker family, this old white couple who still referred to their maid as like this perfect mix of like schmeckala redneck. It was really weird. I remember one day going over to their house because my mother sent me over to tell them about something that was going on in the neighborhood. And as I turned around to leave and they closed the door, I heard Eric through the door going, "Mrs. Stevenson is having a social on Saturday." And it didn't occur to me that he was making fun of me. And when people did make fun of me, I just thought it was because I dressed better than they did. I didn't know what was going on. Obviously, that is not a trait that I've continued today. Now, I know how surprising it must be to hear that a community in Louisiana was not accepting of a young gay person. Shocking, I know. But the truth of the matter is, I had no idea that I was serving up such a femified realness to everyone around me. Even when, on a regular basis, our mailbox got mowed over in the middle of the night, it didn't occur to me that it was personal. I got called faggot all the time, but it didn't register that it was about me. It just seemed like a generic kind of an insult. After the first time our mailbox got run over, my father built a new one made of bricks. After that one got run over, he made another one made of bricks, but he put a steel column in the middle with concrete around it. Now, I'll tell you this. I can't really remember the names or the faces of all of those young men who tortured me back in the day. But I can remember what a T-bird looks like, split right down the middle. Despite it all, I still think of Shreveport as my hometown. And even though I have a lot of bad memories about things that went down there, I have a lot of good memories too. Like the Red River Revel, or David and Elizabeth Gates naming their dog after my sister Gretchen. These are the things that I'll always cherish with me, and all I can say is that though I really don't remember those boys, if any of you see them anytime in your life, I want you to tell them that I sucked every one of their cocks and I told them so. I got just enough south in me to know a good crawdad from a bad. I got a scar on my left knee from running from my history. Had a little bit of saturate left when I moved up to D.C. I am the South. I am the South. place to play. I am the film. I am, I am, I am, I am. I hit the Bayou refueling station when I was only 17. It was a refill up on my empty cup. It was a dinner party with them next year. Had to revisit all the friends we left open for the world to see. Had a madness in my deck that day, cause I couldn't find my Carol King. I am the Sue. I am the Sue. I am the football field. I am, I am, I am, I am. I am the redneck cheese on the farmer's field, the flower seed. I am the Sue. I am, I am, I am, I am. I am the crocodile. I am the big hot hair there. I am eating good and I am ghetto parish when I'm there. I am Mrs. Milam. I am Andrew King and I am everything you denied and what you had and everything that's in between. I am. I am the soul of me, and what you see is what you see. I Wow, wearing leather pants is a great idea. Powder, and fucking I was gonna bring powder, and then what did I not do? That, lady, that. These fucking things, these by the way are from Passional Boutique over at 5th and Bainbridge, the sister store of the Sexploratorium. Their cards are here for you to take frequent visits. $500? I know, right? And then $200 for the boots. This is the front, this is the back. I put them on, I was like, shit, these things cost more than my goddamn rent. Like, it makes me feel sexy, but God forbid I should actually get a Woody in these pants. My life is over. Fuck. Plus the button keeps popping. And I'm like, what? I'm fat. So, wait, what? So it was never my intention to punch Debbie Gibson in the face. Let me backtrack. So while I was living in Shreveport, around the time I was 16, I had my fill of the town. I mean, it was a hot mess. I was over it. I was over it. So I went to school one day, and it was an art class. And because of the huge budget that Louisiana gives to their education, in art class we were using these huge drafting tables with rusty metal jagged edges. And I had the good fortune of smacking my wrist against one of the corners and splitting my hand down. Blood happened. And like any normal red-blooded young male American, I said, fuck! Which sent me straight to the office of the Assistant Vice Principal of Discipline, which is also coincidentally the name that I use at several fetish balls. He sat me down in front of him and he said, son, I'm gonna have to give you a 2-week suspension. Well, I kind of lost my shit. I mean, I didn't say the word shit, but I lost it. Are you kidding me? You're gonna suspend me for saying the F word one time? What are you gonna do to all the kids that run up and down the hall saying the F word all the time? Well, we can't discriminate against one thing and another. The punishment is uniform. That's stupid! What if we did that for actual criminals? You'd be freaking giving the lethal injection to people that stole some bubble gum at the gas station. You're stupid. Well, I had my mom called in, and to her credit, she was also over it. I went home and I sat down with my parents, and we decided that I would leave school. So the next day, I went in. I was 16. The legal age to get your GED in Louisiana is 17. And to go to all my different teachers and have them sign the paperwork to let me, break the rules, I guess. And the last person to sign it was my guidance counselor. And I sat down in her office, and as she was signing the paperwork, she looked up at me and she said, "Are you doing this to punish us?" And at 16 years old, I looked at her and I said, "Honey, please don't flatter yourself, gots to go!" And I sashayed my big southern ass out the front door. And I got my GED, and I got accepted into acting school in New York City. Damn right. Now, at this time, my mother had just recently been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and despite the laugh riot that story is, we'll just leave it there. I moved to New York. I was just about 17, and I enrolled in acting school. Well, my acting school, AMTA, was directly next to a gorgeous patisserie, which for you commoners is a bakery. I went in there one day to order everything, and I saw this blonde at the counter. She was a little dowdy, a little doldrummy. Her blonde, stringy hair was draped over her sort of sad overalls and a formless blouse. Now keep in mind that this was the mid-90s, so grunge was sort of phasing out, but I was still rocking a dyed red, hairy, mullety thing and plaid all over. I looked a little closer and I realized something, and I said, "Oh my God, that's Deborah Gibson." Well, my heart was beating like a marble, and I went up to her and I said, "Are you who I think you are?" "Could be. I used to be a singer." Well, right away my heart broke that she said she used to be a singer. See, at the time, New York was pre-Disney-ification, so you could still go to like a production of Cats and then on the way out buy a copy of Latin Inches magazine from the kiosk. Anything goes, and that's why Debbie Gibson at the time was starring as who? Cosette somebody in Les Mis. Now, I have never seen Les Mis, full disclosure, but I can tell you this. Even having not seen it, I know that Debbie Gibson should not be in it. Nonetheless, she was. So she said, "I used to be a singer." I said, "Oh my God, Debbie Gibson, I love you, okay? Lost in Your Eyes was my jam." "Oh, thank you. That's really nice. I really appreciate it." Well, her eyes seemed sad. So I just wanted to say something to cheer her up, and I racked my brain. I said, "Well, Debbie Gibson, I still have a half a bottle of your Electric Youth cologne in my medicine cabinet at home." "Thanks." I wanted her to be impressed by me, so I said, "Debbie Gibson, I go to the acting school next door." "Oh, really? Are you a singer?" "Shucks, I'm trying to be." No, you listen to me. When someone asks you if you're a performer or a singer, you say, "Yes, yes I am," and never let go. I said, "Shit, are you Debbie Gibson or Courtney Love?" Well, she got her gigantic box of croissants, and she started walking away. I said, "Bye, Debbie Gibson." And when I stepped up to the counter to place my order, my platform sneaker, 90s, slipped on a pat of butter, and I went careening forward in her direction, and my fist made contact with her gorgeous jaw. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, "Damn it, I thought you got in a fist fight with Debbie Gibson," and believe me, I wish that I had. The closest that I've come to that is an ongoing feud I'm having on the internet with Martika. True story. But that day I vowed to myself, you know what? I'm not gonna be like Debbie Gibson. I'm not gonna go on to do an 80s nostalgia tour with Tiffany. I'm gonna be a theater queen. No, I'm gonna be the best theater queen in the world. I'm gonna be a star. But that didn't happen, so I started fucking people for money. Oh, we're doing that. I got a sweet tooth for liquids dropping jelly roll. Oh, sugar daddy, Hansel wants some sugar in his bowl. I lay out fine china on the linen and gather up the chrome. If you got some sugar for me, sugar daddy, bring it home. ladies go shopping. It's something to be seen. They go to Wildflowers and gather nectar for the queen. Everything you bring me got me dripping like a honeycomb. If you got some sugar for me, sugar daddy, bring it home. For the thrill of control, like the blitzkrieg on the road. It's the greatest dance I know. If you got some sugar, bring it home. Da-da-da-da-da. Come on, sugar daddy, bring it home. Whiskey and French cigarettes and a motorbike with a high-speed jet and a keys and all that. I want a big and a hypoallergenic dog. I want all the countries on the modern age. Every item on every page in the Lillian Burden catalog. Singing only a woman could truly love a man. When you buy me the dress, I'll be more woman than a man like you can stand. I will be an Aphrodite on a chocolate clamp, standing right front of you, marshmallow bowl. If you got some sugar for me, sugar daddy, bring it home. It's our tradition to control, like Marcus Bachman and his throne. From the Ukraine to the sweet over allies, Lord, I'm coming home. Come on, sugar daddy, bring it And they're cargo pants. They're leather cargo pants. Can't get these at Old Navy. Well, not in America. But they do keep coming unbuttoned. It's adorable. $450-something. Whatever. Dear Perez Hilton, you will never believe what happened to me today. I was walking down Ventura past Pinkberry, and who should I see but Lindsay Lohan having lunch with Madonna. I know, I freaked out too. I was like, what? So I did like the normal thing. I hid in the bushes. And these bitches be crazy, okay? I overheard them talking about their secret lesbian love affair, and I was like, so I had to tell you because I knew that you would want to tell everybody, and then they could tell everybody else, and everyone would know, because this shit is really important. I don't think I'll ever be able to wrap my head around this obsession with celebrity. I mean, people are salivating to find out who's Nick slipped at what club, where did who, Andy did what, did sex what, peed on a plane. I don't know what's going on, but it's out of control. Now don't peek it, believe it! I thought I told you to just be sitting there looking pretty. Right? I also have gigantic breasts, but I can't pull this shit off. Anyway, I've had my own celebrity experiences. I have had the chance, as a Z-list celebrity, to hobnob or hoobadoob with some very impressive individuals, and I can tell you that they are just like you and me. Now, I got a record deal when I was 19 years old, and despite the fact that it didn't go anywhere, it afforded me my first opportunity, not counting Debbie Gibson, to meet a real celebrity. See, it was 2000, the year 2000, and Millennium Pride was happening. It was the biggest Pride festival ever in America, and I had been asked to open for the very talented and attractive Jimmy Somerville. You might know him as the lead singer of Bronski Beat. You may not know him at all. All of you look like you're around 22, so fuck it, whatever. He's really famous. So I went up and I did my number. I was amazing. And I went backstage and had a seat in the artist area. I grabbed a bottle of water from Craft Services, relaxing in the heat. It was summertime. When a guy in a little headset saunters over to me and he says, okay, excuse me, hey, could you do me a favor? That'd be really great if I could ask you to just leave the artist area because we want to keep this area open for like the real performers. That'd be really sweet. Stop. 90s, Margaret Cho was just coming off of a deep despair. She had a failed sitcom, she was an ex-junkie alcoholic, everything was at rock bottom, but she pulled herself up by her bootstraps to film her first live comedy show. Well, they didn't know at the time if it was going to be a live comedy taping or a narrative film, so they had solicited music to be used in the potential soundtrack. My producer sent some tracks, and they didn't respond. Fine. Fast forward a year later, Margaret Cho is at the top of her game. She's selling out concerts, she's beautiful, she's writing novels, she's blogging, she's the hot shit. She's been asked to write a column for gay.com called The Ask Master. Those of you that know, know. And I decided to write it and ask her a question. And she responded. I'm not going to pretend that I remember what I wrote about, probably something about dick. But I know that it started off an exchange of emails. And she was so supportive, so encouraging of my young gay talent. I remember she said to me, James, listen to me. You could be the voice of young gay America that people are craving and looking for. And I thought, wow, I could. Me. Well, she stopped writing eventually. And that's fine. She's Margaret Cho. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm in New York City at Barnes & Noble for a signing of Margaret Cho's new book. I'm standing in the line with some friends. I'm really excited. I just paid $30 for this book. P.S. $30 for a fucking hardcover book. No wonder we're all friggin' illiterate. I mean, jeez. I think I have to pay for them at the library now. It's redunk. Well, Margaret's rep comes out to the audience and he says, Margaret Cho is not posing for any photographs and she will sign one item. Stalin, chill, it's cool. So I got up to the signing and I handed her my book. She, without looking up, she flipped it open, took her Sharpie, and she said, who should I make this out to? I said, James Bradford. She looked up at me and we made eye contact for the first time ever, for the last time ever. And she said, oh, I have your album at home. Yeah, you do. And then she signed the book to me, which I have prominently displayed on my bookshelf at home. It says, Dear James Bradford, you go away. I feel special. Now, I have a great love for RuPaul. I always have, and I'm not a massive, gigantic fan of drag. I can take it or leave it, it can be fun. But RuPaul is something special. RuPaul came along in the grunge era when young gay people really needed somebody to tell them that they could love themselves. You could be different. It was sort of a Lady Gaga without this suckiness. And Ru was just there for me in a really difficult time. Well, 5 years ago, I had built up quite a RuPaul collection, and I wanted to design a website called RuPaulDiscography.com because I am a nerd. And I wanted to get permission to use the name. So I emailed his management. I was like, can I do this for the website? Well, his manager, Joel, emailed me back and said, I have a better idea. The person that's been helping us with RuPaul's official website has stepped down, and we could use someone like you to help out. Would you be interested? I said, does Tina Turner wear a wig? That's a wig? That's a wig. Well, my capacities as RuPaul's web bitch was to respond to fan emails as RuPaul. I had a notepad file on my computer of canned responses, really basic stuff, like, hey baby, Sashay Shantae, thanks for the letter, I love you too. Or, hey baby, Sarah, I don't email headshots, or I don't put headshots in the mail, but if you ever see me in public, give me a hug, because I love you. Or, oh honey, I'm sorry I can't come perform at your bat mitzvah, but mazel tov! But every now and then, I would get an email from a young person who really was looking for some advice. And it was my opportunity to come full circle, because it was me who had come to RuPaul for encouragement and support, giving support and encouragement to young people as RuPaul. I tried to do it in her voice, and I think that I pulled something off. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how fucked up is it that RuPaul can't answer her own email? But I put it to you that it takes a long time to root a lace front wig. So, I'm just putting that out there. Through it all in my life, there's only been one famous person I was ever, really obsessed with. And I didn't ever really get carried away with it. But the thing is that, I don't know, he's always meant something really special to me. He's really quite a fox. And he can be a little bit moody, but All I know is that he will always be the one. It's Sunday night. I am curled up in my room. The TV light fills my heart like a balloon. I hold it in as best I can. I know I'm just another fan, but I can't help feeling I could look like a secret agent man. And I can't wait any longer for him to discover me. I got a plan for David to come me. David to come me. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? My friends all tell me, man, you know it's just a show. But deep within his eyes, I see me wrapped up like a bow, watching the sky for a sign. The FBI is on my mind. I'm waiting for the day when my lucky stars align. In the form of David to come me, floating above me, the alien light of a spaceship in love. I need David to come me, hovering above me, an American Heathcliff, rooting to come me. David to come me, why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? So smooth and so smart, he's abducted my heart, and I'm falling apart from the looks I've received, from those eyes I can't leave. You can say I'm naive, but he told me to believe. My bags are packed. I am ready for my flight. Gonna put an end to my daydream days and sleepless nights, sitting like a mindless clone, wishing he'd come tap my phone, just to hear the breath of the man, the myth, the monotone. And I was there to call me. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? David to call me. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? David to call me. I know you can love me. Come kiss and come hug me. Take me back to love me. David to call me. I know you can love me. I'm sweet and I'm good. I'll fucking kill somebody. David to call me. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? So, to quote Queen Latifah, ladies! I've always wanted to do that. Also, I've always also wanted to do ladies, am I right? I've always wanted to do that too. Have a Paula Poundstone, Rita Rudner moments. So, adult women are acting more and more like little girls, and it's driving me out of my fucking mind. If I hear one more ukulele, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. It's deafening! It's deafening. There's so much cotton candy, there's so many bunny rabbits, so much kitchen ephemera, so many fucking birds. Okay, now the bird motif has really taken off on the pro-anorexia websites. It's these young women who describe themselves as wanting to be frail, delicate, weightless, like a sparrow, light as air, shimmering. But the bird lust has seeped into other facets of culture. Fashion, it's splayed across every bodice at Neiman Marcus. Tattoos, it's really gotten out of control. The anthropology motif alone is killing me. And it's not the scavenger vulture or the populist pigeon. No, it's the sparrow, the delicate, light-weighted sparrow with its petite beak. It's been adopted as a hipster talisman. It's like way cooler than your moleskin notebook collection or collecting vinyl, records. Here's what I despise about the mass bird adoption. And if you were into the bird thing and you know that this is not what you're all about, then don't throw anything at me, which none of you have, so that's a good sign. It's the epitomization and idealization of everything feminine and ruffly, and further, here's the thing, especially for women, and hear me out, because I know I'm not one, you are most certainly not the weaker sex, but you are the frailer sex. You are not allowed to operate weapons in combat, and if two 12-year-olds on the street wanted to jump you, they probably will, and it's fucked up. But the other thing is that birds aren't even mammals. They're these little reptilian things that stare at you like the devil. And I just think that if you're going to adopt an animal as your spirit guide, it should be something that bleeds from its crotch every now and then. Something that has some fur on it, like hopefully your boyfriend's chest. I know this is very heterocentric. Your girlfriend's chest. Why not? I've been to Germany. I just feel that, you should worship something that fucks with hip thrusts. And, nurses its young, but will also rip your throat out if you get in its face. You're living in the twilight of an empire, ladies. It's like, don't fuck it up. And then, girls are getting these tattoos that they will never be able to grow into. There's women with master's degrees who go under their Match.com profile and list their likes as, collecting ring pops and Girl Scout cookies and laughing a lot. When I'm in stores, I don't see dresses anymore. I see rompers, which are what we used to call onesies. Yes. The closest that Madonna ever came to infantilizing herself was a Stephen Meisel photo shoot in 1992. And now, Katy Perry is posing in headgear. Despite this facade of cliquishness and female friendship and the Romeo and Michelle-ness of it all, there it goes. We all know that these women are doing it for one thing, and it's to let men know that they're not going to bite their cocks off. I just don't get these pubeless, twee, anime-eyed Harajuku girl women walking around living this way. It's like how women used to hide their interests around boys. Math is really hard. I love football. Let's play right now. I love it. I have a sports bra. It's like, now instead you're singing the praises of Skittles Sours and that root beer flavored lip gloss that you get down at Rite Aid. God forbid you should worship a real woman, Barbara Stanwyck, Glenn Close. No, instead you're running around talking like Rocky from the Bullwinkle cartoons, and I don't understand it. I mean, it's all to the same ends. It's just a long-standing insanity. This is my suggestion to women, and I want you to spread the word. Make sure that you own one piece of jewelry that you didn't get from Etsy. The next time you go out with your girlfriend, go get a glass of wine and not froyo. When he asks you out on a date, make him take you to a restaurant and not home to play Xbox. Even if you love, God forbid, L.A. Noire. Good for you. Is that where the band starts? I don't even know. I'm losing it. Oh yeah. Watch a movie with no 90s nostalgic appeal. I mean, bitch, we know you already know Clueless by heart. You can make your own modern womanhood. I'm reading this one literally because Julie told me to. Because the larger issue is that it is a lot easier for men to treat you like a whore if you dress like a little girl. Not that I'm telling you that his idea of who you should be or how you should look should influence your choices, but in a way, don't you feel it already has? real? Yes, Bianca, you're right. It's getting very Urkel up in here, quite frankly. That's all right. Stefan Urkel. No, Myrtle Urkel. Remember Myrtle Urkel? That's my hipster talisman. Oh. The 3 most horrifying things that a man has ever said to me in bed. In no particular order. Number 3, as I'm chewing on his nipples. Yeah. Do it. Drink mama's milk! Number 2, as I'm about to go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Give me all that beer, honey. Exactly. What? You know why it's what? Because it happened. And number 1, after he went, I gotta be honest with you. I don't really find you very attractive. That's so sweet. Do you want to sleep over? Now, the internet is a beautiful thing. It is the able to suck your own cockness of technology. By which I mean that once you have it, I don't understand why you would ever leave home. When I was about 14, I started off on my internet journey, which is to say, it was pre-internet, so we had all these online services like CompuServe and Genie and Sierra Imagination Network. And of course, the ever-present, ever-mailing AOL, which I'm fairly certain my grandmother still thinks is the internet. Now, when I signed up for AOL, it opened up a whole world of faggotry for me. It was a wake-up call as for a queer boy growing up in Shreveport, Louisiana. Suddenly, I had gay men all around the world to talk to, and yes, in retrospect, they were all pedophiles. But at the time, I didn't know that. What I also didn't know was that at the time, Prodigy charged 25 cents per email. So, when the bill for $300 came from my dad, I was super surprised. Well, needless to say, he was pissed, and he immediately canceled the America Online account, which killed me. My world was cut off. So I did the only logical thing that a young person would do. I stole his credit card and opened another one. Obviously. Well, when that bill went up to over $300, I was in a panic. I didn't know what to do. How was I going to pay this? How was I not going to get my ass kicked by my father? Enter Danny. Danny was from Germany. He was in his 30s, allegedly. And he was really the first guy that made me feel like I was being preyed upon. He insisted on calling me Jimmy or little buddy. And he used really infantile words to describe sex acts, Wiener. That's hot. Let's do it with our wieners. Well, it just so happened that he was working in an industry, pharmaceuticals, that was having a big conference in Shreveport. You didn't know that, but Shreveport, Louisiana is the big hub of the pharmaceutical industry in America. Now you do know. You don't have to go to Wikipedia, because I told you. So he was coming into town, and he said that he would pay the bill for me. Great. As I had mentioned, my mother in my late teens was ill, so my parents had pretty much stopped paying attention to anything that I did. So when he got into town, he drove his car up to a gas station near me. I rode my bicycle there. I chained it to a dumpster, and I got in with him. And we drove 30 miles away from where I lived to a kind of no-tell motel next to one of those truck stops with a huge cowboy and neon, roping absolutely nothing all day long. And we went into the hotel room, and we did what two people do when they're in a hotel room and not married. And, I just have to say that you hear a lot of talk about how people's first sexual experience is always a hot mess, and it's never any good, and not enjoyable, you should have low expectations, and I just want to say that is total bullshit. It is awesome. It is the best thing that you'll ever do, and if you're a teenager, you should go and do it right now. Especially in the morning when he woke me up with a smoochie and then said to me, "Oh, Jimmy, I had a dream that I was wrestling with a great big snake and it spit all over me." Yes, exactly. It took a minute, but you know what? It didn't take a minute for me. So we left the hotel, got into his car. He took me out for breakfast at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I guess it's a German thing. We went antiquing. He got a super cool fan from the 50s, and then he drove me to my street and dropped me off at the end of my block so as not to arouse suspicion. My first walk of shame! Hooray! And he started crying as he handed me the wad of 20s. And he said, "Oh, Jimmy, I can't help but feel as though the only reason that you did this with me is for the money." True. No, that wasn't true. I was totally into it. Now, I'm not sure if there's a moral to this story, other than that I'm very lucky to not have wound up dismembered in a no-tell motel in Shreveport at the age of 16. Or is I? It just seems to me that the internet is this great tangled web of faded memories and images that we're all leaving behind, and I feel like everyone that I have met since around age 16 has in some way, shape, or form originated from the internet. I mean, think about it. Is the job that you have right now from a post that you found online? Have you met new friends through your coworkers from that job? Have they introduced you to a girl or a boy that you dated? It's all this sort of 6 degrees of separation from the net, from your keyboard, is what I wrote. The only thing that you can do is hope that the impression that you've left behind for the world is one that you'll want to be remembered, because whatever you've put out there, it's too late. It started as a joke, just one of my locks to see if somehow I could reach you. So I swam out to your shore through an open window, only to find you alone, curled up with machines. Now it seems you're slipping out of the land of the living. Just take a closer look. Take a Cheers, thanks a lot. Somebody bring me some water in here. Isn't it from a nerd song? She wants to move. Does anybody remember that? No, but seriously, can somebody bring me some water? Oh, I should have done, somebody bring me some water. I don't have a cup. Just give me yours. Share yours, I think is what I meant. Come on, don't judge me. Don't you judge me. They did not find that funny at all. Apparently there was some dust on that joke. So, one of the stereotypes that I really fucking hate about gay people is they were all these bitchy, sarcastic queens that are ready to claw your eyes out and were super vindictive and really bitey and bitchy. And you know what? I just want to say that I don't have a vindictive bone in my body, okay? And I will strike down the first person that says that I do. I try not to just blurt out that I'm gay when I'm doing comedy because I figure it's very unlikely that someone in the audience is both blind and deaf. God bless you. Everyone give some applause to the lovely lady in the sort of clappery headband. My dear, when I come back in the next life as a woman, I'm gonna be you. So make sure you're not here. Oh yeah. Where was I? Right. Oh yeah. So my first agent was at Creative Talent Management in Reston, Virginia. Now, she told me that I was the first gay client she had ever had, which is something that will only happen if your agency is in Reston, Virginia. She never knew what to do with me. She didn't know where to send me out or who to send me to, so she would call me up with these auditions and she would say, James, it's me, it's Bonnie. Listen, I've got an audition for you. I don't really know what it's all about, but you know you, so just prepare something, here's the address, you go. And then I would get there, and it would be like for hardcore gay porn, or Cirque du Soleil. Great, really helpful. Well, one day she asked me to come in because she needed to have a talk. And I sat down in her office, and she said, James, all right, here's my concern. I want you to listen because it's not personal. You are gay, and you are fat. Now, you can be gay, or you can be fat. But you just can't be both at the same time, and I'm gonna need you to choose. So I chose another fucking agency. Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes I forget that I am gay, I know, until I do something really gay that sort of shocks me back into my own, suckery. Once I was on this bus in Washington, D.C., and I went to Southeast, the scary part of town. And I got off the bus, it was like midnight, and I'm like, ah, shit, I fell asleep, and went 10 stops past my stop. So I got out, and I'm waiting at the stop with my headphones for the bus to go in the other direction. And that song, I Love Your Smile by Shanice came on. Well, of course, I was like, the clock at work says 3, and I wanna be free. Free to sing, free to bet, free to paint my toes on it. Ow! I'm lucky I didn't get killed. Not because it was a ghetto area, it's just that black people really don't like it when you fuck with the classics. It's a lesson I learned from a little woman named RuPaul. Another myth about gay men is that we can get laid anytime we want because we're all men, and men are super horny and slutty, and that is true. And I'm very proud of it. I don't know why people are so pissed. The religious right, I don't want to give them more ammo, but really they're just jealous because they have to go on Match.com. It takes them months to get laid, and all I have to do is go on Craigslist and post a picture of my balls, and I've got 70 people at my front door in 20 minutes. P.S. to quote Margaret Cho, Craigslist is the penny saver of dick. It's ridiculous. It is Nazutso. So, and then those missed connections listings are so great. If you're having a bad day or you're depressed, read the missed connections listing. It's like, you, super hot tan California looking dude. I caught you through the window of a Starbucks at 2 a.m. You didn't see me, but I could have sworn you looked my way that time that you sneezed. Me, super avid reader of Danielle Steele novels. Keep a tub of Crisco in my kitchen all the time. Call me. Okay, well, I don't know when dating became such a chore. Like 10 years ago, I was so enthusiastic, I would take the train for 60 minutes just to get laid for 5 minutes. Now, it's like if there's a marathon of Golden Girls on Lifetime, I can't be bothered to leave the house. I used to plan like a really cool picnic or creative outing, and now, I mean, you know, porn is so easy to download. I don't have time for you, fuck you. I was watching Oprah the other day, and this ex-con was on, and he was talking about how through his years of fraud and stealing and betrayal, he had learned everything about, you know, the craft. And he was using his experience to teach people how to avoid identity theft and how to avoid being taken advantage of. And I was watching, and I was like, wow, that guy is a hero. You know, I could be that guy. I've done bad things in my life that I've learned from. I could spend my whole life going around the world teaching people how to avoid the unpleasantries of life, really commit myself to changing the world. But then I was like, if I do all that, I won't have any time to watch Oprah. So I was like, no, I don't have time for that. This whole new era of spirituality has me craving for the good old age of like televangelistic insanity, Jesus TV shysters. I mean, seriously, give me Jim Bakker in a peach 3-piece suit over The Secret any day. P.S. The secret to The Secret is that it's bullshit. There's a little secret for you. I'd rather have some funny asshole waving his finger in my face telling me that something's wrong with me than somebody telling me that the reason for all the bad things in my life is because I didn't think positively. Do you know who they tell that to? Cancer patients. That's not funny. No, it's kind of funny because it's fucked up. You can laugh. Don't laugh at me. It's not, it's terrifying. They say that. You know, I know that you're on this, like, you know, super cool metabolic diet and you're, like, going through the new age stuff and I'm really proud of you, but you seem to have a really poor attitude and that's why you're gonna die. Oh, that's great. That's spiritual. I'd rather fuck Jessica Hahn than Michelle Bachman. Any day. And as Tammy Faye Bakker is looking down at us from the mascara-stained clouds of heaven, my only hope is that she hears this call tonight. You buy a piece of me. I'll get you everything I wanted. I'll get you everything you need. You don't need to believe in hereafter. Do I still have water? God bless. I say that. Like, do you ever say religious things that have nothing to do with who you actually are? And then there's people who are super spiritual and religious, but they don't want you to take the Lord's name in vain, but then they'll say something like, Santa Vaga, which means holy cow, which is super offensive to other religions, but it doesn't matter. It's not their God, so who cares? So once upon a time, I was a whore. Let me clarify. I wasn't a whore like in a colloquial way, like, you're such a whore, you sleep around. I wasn't a whore, I fuck people for money. And it was great. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at me with my glasses and my balding head and my big furry belly, and you're thinking, yes, I see this. I see how this happened. This is definitely a thing, and how do I get on board? Sadly for you, I don't do that anymore. Although ask me again in about a month. I was living in New Orleans working as a VJ for $12 an hour, and you would think that'd be like a super fun job, but it wasn't, because the VJ booth was situated way up high above the bar, and the ladder came out from the toilets, so I was up there for 8 to 10 hours a night, talking to no one. No one could make any requests. It was not fun for me. And meanwhile, my friend Todd was working as a day laborer for one of those shady, tempy, blue-collar companies. Most of the other his coworkers were Hispanic guys who were illegal immigrants, and they paid them like $4.25 an hour to do really heavy physical labor, charge them for like the ride to and from work. It was a fucking disaster. And I just started thinking to myself, like, he's getting paid shit money to work with his body for super long hours at something he hates. My grandma always told me to do something you love. I should be a whore. It was the logical conclusion, and I know that you agree. So it's so hot in here. My natural inclination was to utilize the tools available in our modern era. Craigslist. At the time, they had the erotic services section. It's been taken down now because of, all the murder or whatever. So this is what one of my ads would typically say. Hey guys, are you looking for the chance to relax and release all of your tension? My name is James, and I'm a masculine bear who's ready to help work over every inch of your body. For only $60, I'll give you everything you need, so call me. Well, the emails started pouring in, and before you knew it, I was sucking and stroking my way into financial solvency. See, here's the thing. If there's all different sort of scores of whores, and a lot of people think of a prostitute as a toothless woman on the corner giving you a handy J for $10, and that is a thing, usually a sad and tragic thing, but there are also people who choose to do this very legitimately. There's a whole sex work industry. You can approve or you can disapprove. I don't really fucking care. Just don't tell me what to do with my body. Thank you. And, can't fucking believe I just did that. The way I saw it, Todd was making no money and I was making a ton of money, and both of us were using our bodies, and at the end of the day, whether it was his neck and back or my jaw, both of us were really sore. Yes, ma'am. Welcome to the show. Well, for 2 years I turned tricks online, and eventually it just got kind of old and I got a lot fatter, so a little more difficult. Every now and then I'll still go on like a webcam site and make my like 10% of the $8 a minute that they charge for someone to watch me, but that's really special and just for me. It's not really a career choice. If you want to be a whore, but you don't want to be like a balls out, doing it all kind of a whore, then here are my pieces of advice for you on the course to pursue in your career path. Okay, first of all, lie about yourself. Say you are a trained masseur, or masseuse, because the people who are hiring you in that wheelhouse are looking for the opportunity to convince themselves that they are not paying you for sex. They want to shroud it in the illusion of a legitimate medical experience, and that's fine. But you will make a lot more money if you just lie. Okay? Now, when you're doing massage therapy, you need to go to CVS or Rite Aid, Walgreens, whichever your choice, and you need to buy a 99-cent bottle of Suave conditioner. Then you need to go to Pier 1 Imports and get a nice but inexpensive fancy-looking bottle and put the conditioner in it. Then tell your clients that you have concocted a luxurious aromatherapy massage potion that you learned about from your Eastern guru, special just for them. Do not accidentally buy Suave's shampoo instead. It does not dissolve into the skin and it will leave you greasy in an unhappy way. And really, they don't care because it's all going on their taint anyway, so let it go. Ready yourself for the worst because you will usually be pleasantly surprised. I mean, for every hideous 800-pound old man with tattoos like in his, stomach flap, there are a ton of really handsome, probably married guys living in the closet who just want to be made to feel like they're really good looking. And they will do anything that you ask, money-wise, if you just make them feel better about yourself. About themselves, make them feel better about yourself. Well, that works too. But above all, and this is like the most important one, so be wary, there will be a married Indian doctor in his 30s who falls in love with you and calls you all the time asking you for get-togethers that have nothing to do with your business exchange, and like he'll show up at your house on your birthday with a bottle of wine and half of a cake to celebrate, and you're like, you don't even know how he knew that it was your birthday. And then he'll come over 4 sexual appointments where he's paying you but trying to turn it into something more than it is, and then he'll end up leaving his wife and stalking you until you have to move to another address, and it really sucks. Or that was just me, but either way, something funky's gonna happen, and you should just be ready for it. Another option is to not become a prostitute. It's really up to you. In the end, you're gonna have to look at the whole thing as an acting exercise, You're gonna have to please somebody's fantasies, and you've gotta learn to own your sexy, no matter what that means. You gotta celebrate your freak. You gotta get your freak on. It's a sexual revolution. Don't spend all your money on meth. And one day, you will morph into your own version of the stunning sex god that you see before you today. Yeah, baby. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I feel it now. Yeah. Tell me more. Wait, what about?
Yeah, you know it.
What's my name? I don't remember.
Me either.
That's alright. Tie me up, tie me down. Make me moan real loud. Take off my clothes. No one has to know. Whispering, I wanna feel the soft burn. Wanna feel this slow burn. When you walked into the room, you knew just what to do. You could have gone from door to door, but you knew just where to go to. Come into my velvet room and tell me your fantasies. Tell me the passion in your voice I wanna hear as you start to tell me. Come on and take the blindfold, baby. Tie it gently on me. Don't wanna hear, just feel the things you're gonna do to me. Tie me up, tie me down. Make me moan real loud. Take off my clothes. No one has to know. Whispering, I wanna feel the soft rope burn.
that you were sitting over here wearing just my imagination for you. Sensation will do. Feel the warmth of the candlelight as it flies across your body. Grab that hot candle wax and send it down the small of my bed. Do you wanna know what my tongue feels like? You like that? Tie me up, tie me down. Make me more real new. Take off my clothes. No one has to know. Whisper that I wanna feel the song of the Tie me up, tie me down. Make me more real now. Take off my clothes. No one has to know. Whisper that I wanna feel the song. Roll. Jenny, I was really into it, but now I'm feeling uncomfortable. Jenny, can we go? Guess what? Fat people have sex too. Hairy ones, everybody. People are still having sex. That's another song I just remembered tonight here with you. Are you there, God? It's me, faggot. Thank you. So I am an atheist. And there seems to be a great deal of confusion in America about what it means to be an atheist. So I'm going to break it down for anyone who doesn't understand. You seem like a pretty bright crowd, but let's just do it anyway. So being an atheist means that I don't believe in a or any gods. If you believe in a god, a Christian god, or otherwise, you are a monotheist. If you believe in lots of gods, you're a multi-theist. I'm an atheist. Okay, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in anything esoteric or spiritual, or that I'm like all closed down, I'm closed-minded and shit. It just means that I don't believe that there's like a grand wizard in the sky deciding that you should win a Grammy Award. Or that's gonna help you like pay your bills or whatever. And believe me, if I thought that he would, I would change my mind. In my teen years, I continued going to church in Shreveport, even though, honestly, church is where people treated me the worst out of anywhere, whether it was school or social affairs in the neighborhood. No. It was the churchgoers that made me feel like shit. Because they're really great people. I mean, not all people go to church. I'm not going to turn it into a thing. These ones suck. And the biggest offender of all of them was our youth pastor, Jaywalk. Let it sink in. This shit is real, people. P.S. 10 years after I moved away, I found out that he had married one of the girls that was in his youth group, so. When we moved to Shreveport, we had been going to a Presbyterian church, but because there wasn't one in our neighborhood, we became Methodist, which made perfect sense to me. Not. So I got really confused right away. I mean, at that church, I had never felt less like I fit in than this one time when I wandered into a Dykes on Bikes convention on accident. Other than that, church was the absolute worst. I was cast as Joseph in our youth Christmas play, and we were at rehearsal, and I was leaning back against the manger piece, which was made of this really rough, like, cordy wood, and my hand slid down the wood, and in, like, sharp, sort of very drafting table in art class kind of a way, I looked at my hand to discover about 10 splinters sticking out of my palm. So I went and I leaned forward to the woman who was directing the play and I said, Mrs. Gillespie, I need help. Jimmy, shut up, be quiet, okay? You're fine. I looked down. I saw the welts starting to rise up around the tiny pieces of wood. Mrs. Gillespie, I'm serious, I'm really hurt and I need your help. Jimmy, I told you to be quiet. We will take care of whatever this is later. Blood began to pool. Mrs. Gillespie, I swear to God, if you don't help me right, throw the baby Jesus directly at your head, and I'm not kidding. I got to her. Well, she came over and she looked at my hand and realized I wasn't fucking around. She freaked out, canceled the rest of rehearsal, sent everybody home, and took me in her car to drive me to the ER. But on the way, took me through the drive-thru at McDonald's and got me a Happy Meal and a chocolate shake. Yes. She leaned over and she said, now we won't tell your mom about this, will we? No, Mrs. Gillespie. And that was the day that food became my new god. Well, my grandfather on my mother's side was a pastor, and he found out that I wasn't going to church anymore, so he sat me down to have the talk. He said, Jimmy, now I hear that you aren't going to church anymore. What is that about? Grandpa, they're really mean to me. Now, who's mean to you? Christians. I think that's very hard to believe. I don't believe that at all. I think that something's going on there, and you just need to give them a chance to learn who you are and really get to know you. Things will get a lot better, and I want you to remember that God loves you, and He always will with you. Do you have any, like, cake or pie in the house? Because I'm hungry. The whole concept of devils and gods feels so outdated to me. Our culture is obsessed with finding fault in everything that everybody does, but at the same time, we're devoted to these mythical creatures who will absolve us of everything wrong that we do. How convenient. Maybe if we focus more on each other and less on finding fault through failure, but instead finding success in our community, maybe it's time to make ourselves God. I'm in love with you, you silly thing. Anyone can see. What is it with you, you silly thing? Just take it from me. It was not a chance meeting. Feel my heart beating. You're the one. but I feel so moved, makes me wanna play. Pray you'll always be here. I'm not religious, but I feel such love, makes me wanna play. I remember the first time that my mom got really upset when she found out I wasn't in a roller run was when Sinead O'Connor tore the Pope picture on the TV, and I started laughing hysterically. She was displeased. I was on a little TV show called Can't Get a Date on VH1 Logo Networks, and if you didn't see it, you're in good company. You can, however, watch it on the Logo website, or Netflix had bought the exclusive rights to stream it on their website because it's just that good. The premise of the show was simple: get some New Yorkers together who were fucked up and fix everything that was wrong with them so they would become dateable. Genius! Now, let's not fool each other. I was never not dateable. In fact, when I signed on to do the show, I was actually dating somebody. But it came with a whole lot of perks, and I needed a job. I still need a job. The idea behind my storyline was that I was supposed to be this out-of-shape loser who couldn't get his shit together and couldn't get his music career back on track even though he had a record deal. But as they started piecing together the storyline from the million hours of footage they compiled to make a 22-minute show, they decided that the real storyline was that I was super bitter and diva-y, and that I got in everybody's face and ruined my own life by being just I almost said the C word. And that's the one word I was told I'm not allowed to say. A cockhead, that's what I was gonna say. A coochie-coo. I put it to you this way. First of all, how would you feel if a bunch of producers got in your face and told you that they wanted you to lose 40 pounds in 3 weeks? Faux starters. And secondly, it's look, if people filmed you for 3 months or where he was on it with me, 3 or something months, and then they edited the footage down to 22 minutes of you peeing, everyone who watched it would think that you pee all the time. So I look like a big skanky bitch. See what I'm saying? Now the most horrifying moment of the show, I take it, I accept it, I take it in. The most horrifying moment of the show was when I went on the titular date, with a perfectly sweet guy named John. Now John was this Jewish guy. He came from an Orthodox family, but he worked as a receptionist at a Catholic school. And I thought that was fascinating. So we sat down for our date, and one of the first things that I was going to say was, so, you're a Jew, but you work at a Catholic school, that's interesting. But what came out of my mouth was, so, you're a Jew, and he interrupted me immediately. He said, okay, first of all, it's not Jew, it's Jewish. Okay, well what my mouth said was, oh, okay, if that's your preference. Because in my mind, the date had ended right there. But what my inner monologue was, bitch, please. I am a faggot, and I'm into fat, chubby, hairy guys who are balding and have a guilt complex and want to go out of their way to please me. My entire dating pool is Jewish, so I don't need you to tell me how to be politically incorrect. P.S. Today he has a blog online called Bear Jew NYC. Mazel tov. Well, when the show finally started airing, even I was surprised at how recognized I was. The culmination of it for me came when I went to Folsom Street Festival in New York, and these two leather queens came screeching over to me and said, "Oh my God, you're the guy from that show, you're the guy from that show. You are worse than Omarosa." And this is the face that I had in the pictures that they took with me when they posed. Because, well, obviously you know who Omarosa. Bitch had a piece of plaster fall on her head and threatened to sue for a fucking concussion. I called somebody a Jew. Grow up. Who's a Jew? I think later in an interview later I called him a Jap. But wait. First of all, he was. And secondly, this is the cut. This is the cut. It's like, he's like, he wore those sunglasses. He's a total Jap. He's a Jewish American princess. And then it cuts to him, and this is what he does. He said that? I am. So, there you go. So I moved to Philadelphia because New York was making me lose it. And it was a little bit less bad here. I wasn't as recognized. Although the day I moved here, I was in line at H&M and this guy asked for my phone number and then started leaving me messages about a script he wanted me to shop around at Logo. Thanks. I feel special about you too. It's good. Here's my email. Send it to me. Almost immediately I met this guy. And I know some people here may know who he is, and I don't want to name his name, so we'll call him Regina Phalange. No, that won't work. We'll call him Bruce. We'll call him Bruce, right? So Bruce and I were under the mistaken impression that we were lesbians, and we moved in together almost immediately. He was living in a house in Fishtown that his friends owned. He was house sitting, and I moved in with him. And right away, I was so impressed with Bruce's ability to be really honest with me. Because he told me that he was a former lifelong heroin addict, he was HIV positive, and you know what? That's fine. People have fucking issues. And also, I was really fucking naive. So, right away I started finding dirty needles and burnt spoons in drawers around the house. I was a little surprised until he told me that those were just left over from back when he used to do drugs. Of course. I was so naive. And what began was a 3-year process of lying and some cheating and ultimately me working really, really hard to get Bruce into rehab and get him clean. And you know what? He did. After the first year, he went, he got clean, he has stayed clean. We've been broken up for 2-ish years and he is still clean. And that is fucking amazing. And it's completely my doing and I take all the credit.
Yeah.
I don't take all the credit. But here's the thing. When you start living someone else's life for them, your life turns to shit. So I went from about 240 pounds to about 330 pounds, progressively stopped leaving the house to do anything at all, became a complete and total miserable shut-in. I have a limited drug history. You know, on the few occasions that I've done drugs, I didn't really like them. I can't smoke weed, my gag reflex fights it. And I did ecstasy once on my 21st birthday. I don't really remember exactly what happened, although I'm pretty sure I blew everybody in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar that I was doing at the time. I just think that, what happened? Oh, right, yeah. When we finally broke up, I found myself with no money and no job because he was the primary earner. And I never left the house. And I want to say a thank you, by the way, to the good people at Logitech Webcams, who were the only people that really provided me orgasms for a 3-year period. I'm 32, so I don't come from the era of AIDS. I come from the era of AIDS education. And, I don't have any qualms about dating or even hooking up with somebody that's positive. Condoms exist for a reason, and frankly, if you can't get creative in bed, I don't want to sleep with you anyway. So, that's that. But I realized that my fear, the paralyzing fear that Bruce could do something that would kill him, made me start thinking about the fact that I was going to die. And as all ridiculous as it sounds, it's so cliche, thinking about your own mortality really fucks with your head. And the thing that I realized is that if I died, I wouldn't have any time to watch Oprah. And that was a big deal to me. The gays who were in their 50s and their 60s, they've done their part. And they've watched their friends die. And they've told us what we need to know. And now it's our turn to tell the young kids what they need to know. I'm not talking about gay kids, I'm not talking about straight kids, or black people or whatever statistic you want to throw out there that people want to tell us is the worst with the diseases, all of us who know should be telling, and that's just the bottom line. And I'm so thank you. I'm glad that you agree. I know you all. This isn't funny. Why isn't this part funny? I just think that, you know, there's all this barebacking and bug chasing and this mental idea that I should get it right away because I'm going to get it eventually anyway, so just get it out of the way because I can control it with medication, so I'll live forever and it'll just be a little inconvenience. Plus, I'll get great insurance through the city and services and free legal help and, you know, it's such a bullshit. So I just wanted to throw that out there. You're welcome. Because the era, it's not different. It's not that different from now and then. Things haven't changed. Gay people still, everybody, but gay people, still go on this journey, discovering who they are and finding their own pathway to education about this topic. It's your first night out, you're not sure what you're about, but tonight something's going down. Castro Street on a Saturday night was out of sight, the Gotha Park melting in the background. You walked into a disco, you hit the dance floor. You feel a little out of place, but you know you want more. Well, baby, now you're free, and you're gonna be all night. 'Cause somewhere in this world you'll find you love tonight. You make me feel mighty real, my darling, you know. You make me feel mighty real. You leaned against the wall, you felt so shy, you felt so small, caught up in this first hot night. You looked across the room and your heart went zoom. He walked right over, said, I'll treat you right. Well, alright. Walking outside, the air is fresh and sweet. The rain falling down on your heart you've concealed. You get on the back of his motorcycle, hit the pavement, and babe, you feel so real. Ooh, you make me feel mighty real. San Francisco, I said, you make me feel mighty real. It's time to live this brand new life of doing what you knew was right. Don't ever look back, alright. Be true to your heart, do it right from the start, and heaven will be yours. Ooh, you make me feel mighty real. Brother, sister, Sylvester, I said, you make me feel mighty real. Well, I think that's just about it. Or is it? I'll be right back.
You guys enjoying the show? Alright! Makes me that much stronger. Makes me work a little bit harder. Makes me that much wiser. Thanks for making me a fighter. Makes me a little bit faster. Makes me a little bit bigger. Makes me that much smarter. Thanks for making me alive.
What?
Yeah.
You know, I was just leaving Taboo when I started to think about all of the things I said to you tonight, all of the stories and the morals and the lessons, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I'm a complete fraud and a phony, and everything I said to you tonight was complete bullshit. And I just want to apologize to you for that. You know, if I just wish that I could give you back every dollar that you paid, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I started thinking about the kind of man that I always wanted to become when I was younger, you know. I wanted to be a man's man, a real man, a man who did for himself, who wasn't afraid to travel down those highways and byways of life that led him to explore the realities and the truths of human existence. And because I wanted to grow to be that kind of a man, I want to dedicate this show tonight to women. But specifically to the women who chose to take a back seat in life. The women who knew that the real control lies by standing in the background, pulling the strings. And that's why I want to dedicate this show tonight to Sheila E. To Sheena Easton. To Paula Abdul for that one album. To Martika the bitch. To Wendy and Lisa on their own. Fuck it, to Kendra. But most of all, I want to dedicate the show to the purple paisley god himself. The man who chooses to sit naked under a cherry moon. Love sexy. It's the sign of the times. It's the sign of the times. It's the sign of the times. I guess I should have known by the way about your cross-eyed ways that it wouldn't last. 'Cause you're the kind of person who believes in making loved ones, love them and leave them fast. I guess I should have known you had a pocket full of horses, Trojans and some of them used. But it was Saturday night, I guess that makes it alright. Say, what do you have to lose? And honey, I said, little red Corvette. Baby, you're much too big. I wanna find a love that's gonna last. I guess I should have closed my eyes when you took me to the place where your horses run free. 'Cause I felt a little ill when I saw all the pictures of the jockeys that were there before me. Believe it or not, I started to get nervous, scared I didn't have enough class. But it was Saturday night, I guess that makes it alright. You say, baby, do I have enough nails? Honey, I said, little red Corvette. Baby, you're much too fast. Little red Corvette. I need to find a love that's gonna last. And the road you walk along, I said the road you walk along, I said the road you walk along, I said the I want you to know that wherever you go in this lifetime, wherever you find yourself feeling like you're all alone in this world, remember that you are. But whenever I am in this world, whatever I'm doing with my fabulous life, remember that I will always love you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was James Bradford is thick. I'm James Bradford. Thank you for coming out tonight. Bianca Lindblad on backing vocals. She is a fighter. Melinda Gervasio